So, if you're following a vegan diet or even just thinking about it, there is one nutrient you absolutely, positively cannot ignore. I'm not talking about a nice to have, this is an essential. We're talking about vitamin B12, and we're about to break down exactly why it is the non negotiable cornerstone of a healthy, long term, plant based life.
Here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with the B12 blind spot that's pretty unique to vegan diets. Then we'll get into what B12 actually does in your body and why a deficiency can be so sneaky. After that, we are busting some major myths about where you can find it in food, and we'll wrap up with a super simple, actionable plan to make sure you're covered. All right, let's dive right into section 1, the vegan B12 blind spot. We need to get to the heart of the issue right away. Why is this one vitamin such a specific and critical focus for anyone eating plant-based? This is the big question, right? Almost every new vegan wonders this. You make the switch, you feel amazing, you've got all this new energy, so why start worrying about popping a supplement? Well, the answer to this question really reveals why B12 is such a tricky, deceptive nutrient.
Here's the bottom line: B12 deficiency can happen to anyone. But if you're a vegan, your risk is just way, way higher. And the reason is simple. The most reliable, naturally occurring sources of B12 are meat, dairy, and eggs. So in a vegan diet, those are just off the table from day one. Okay, so we know where B12 isn't, but to really get why this matters so much, we have to understand what it's actually doing inside of us. And it's not just one small thing. B12 is a major player in several systems that are absolutely critical to our health. Think of it this way. B12 has 3 main high-stakes jobs. First, it's essential for making healthy red blood cells, the little guys that carry oxygen everywhere. Second, it's crucial for the health of your entire nervous system. And third, it's needed for the synthesis of your DNA. I mean, these aren't minor roles, they're foundational. So what happens when that first job, making red blood cells, goes wrong? Well, without enough B12, your body can't produce them correctly. They end up becoming these large, clumsy, immature cells that are terrible at carrying oxygen. This leads to a condition called megaloblastic anemia. And it's why one of the first signs of trouble is feeling incredibly tired and weak. Now for that second job, nerve health. The best way to picture the myelin sheath is like the plastic insulation around an electrical cord. B12 is what keeps that insulation strong and healthy. When you don't have enough, that coating starts to wear down, and your nerve signals misfire. That's what causes those classic symptoms like tingling and numbness. And this is where a serious domino effect kicks in. See, a B12 deficiency doesn't just act on its own. It actually traps another crucial nutrient, folate, and makes it totally useless to your body. They call this the methyl trap. And because folate is needed for DNA synthesis, this trap messes up cell growth all over your body, from your immune system to the lining of your gut. This brings us to what is honestly the most dangerous part about a B12 deficiency. It's silence. A really serious problem can be brewing for years without you ever feeling a single thing. Just look at this timeline. Your liver is pretty amazing. It can actually store a few years' worth of B12. But this creates a total false sense of security. Someone can go vegan, feel incredible for 2, 3, 4 years, all while their B12 stores are slowly but surely draining away. Symptoms might not pop up for 5, or in some cases even 10 years down the road. And when the symptoms do finally show up, they're often super vague and really easy to blame on something else. We're talking about things like feeling tired all the time, brain fog, mood swings, or that classic pins and needles feeling in your hands and feet. Okay, I have to pause here because this is the single most important thing I'm going to say. Please listen to this. While you can fix the anemia and the fatigue, the neurological damage from a severe long-term B12 deficiency can be permanent, irreversible. This is not something you ever want to gamble with. All right, so if the risk is that serious, you might be wondering, can I just get it from some special plant foods? This is where we have to tackle some of the biggest and most persistent myths out there. So first things first, let's get one biological fact straight. Plants do not make vitamin B12. Bacteria do. Now, a long, long time ago, humans probably got B12 from things like unwashed veggies or drinking from streams. But in our modern, sanitized world, that is just not a reliable or safe source anymore. Let's just cut through all the confusion. You're going to hear people talk about getting B12 from nori seaweed or tempeh or maybe some mushrooms. But the reality is the amounts are all over the place, totally unreliable, or just tiny trace amounts. And here's the big one, nutritional yeast. It only has B12 if it has been fortified, meaning the B12 is added to it. Naturally, it has 0. So, what this all boils down to is this: unless you are meticulously tracking your intake of B12 fortified foods, like certain plant milk, cereals, and that fortified nutritional yeast, every single day, trying to get enough from food alone is a really, really risky strategy.
Okay, enough with the problem, let's move on to the solution, which, thank goodness, is actually incredibly straightforward. This is not a complicated issue to solve once you have a clear plan of attack.
When you go to look for a supplement, you're pretty much going to see two main names: cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. Cyano is synthetic, super stable, well-researched, and cheap. Your body just converts it to the form it needs. Methyl is that active form already, but it's less stable and costs more. The bottom line: for the vast majority of people, cyanocobalamin is a reliable, effective, and smart choice. And the plan is really this simple. Step 1, pick your form. Again, Cyano works great for most people. Step 2, decide if you want to take it daily or a few times a week. Step 3, take the recommended dose. You can do a small dose every day or a larger dose 2 or 3 times a week. It is that easy to stay protected. Okay, let's bring this all home. What is the final, most important takeaway from all of this? So, what are we aiming for? If you get your blood levels checked, this is the number you want to see. This isn't just about avoiding a deficiency. This is the optimal range that offers the best possible protection for your brain and your entire nervous system. It's a clear, solid target you can talk to your doctor about. You know, ultimately, it all comes down to this simple idea. A vegan diet without paying attention to B12 is a risk. But the solution is so simple. With a basic supplement, you can safely meet all of your B12 needs and absolutely thrive on a plant-based diet for the rest of your life. So we want to leave you with this question. This isn't about scaring you, it's about empowering you. Protecting your long-term health in a vegan diet is easy to do. B12 is that one non-negotiable piece of the puzzle. So the question is your plan in place?